Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone who have joined us from different parts of the world today. First of all, thank you so much for showing interest and signing up to this event. And I'm pretty sure there are a lot of interesting things that you'll learn today, especially when we talk about how AI is integrated and how you can automate your advanced workflows seamlessly using the features that we shipped recently. A quick introduction about myself. I am Rajesh Chilka, working as a product manager for low-code automation at BrowserStack. I have been associated with BrowserStack for more than 6 years now, and I've been working with the local automation product since the past 2 years. I've been a QA practitioner myself and worked with various products of BrowserStack, including Live, App Live, local testing, etc. I also have with me today Aditi Kagane, who is a colleague of mine and is also the product manager for local automation BrowserStack. Aditi, do you want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, everyone. I am Aditi, and I have been working with BrowserStack on building low-code automation since about a year now. Previously, I have been a developer and been part of multiple testing cycles for different features which have had a global impact.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aditi, for the introduction. Before we delve into it further, there are a few housekeeping items to keep in mind. The session would run for 60 minutes. All the participants are muted to allow the speakers to engage without any interruptions. In case you have any questions, there's a Q&A section in the bottom section of your screen. Feel free to put in whatever questions you have during the course of the webinar. We will have a dedicated slot towards the end for 15 minutes to answer any of your queries. But we'll also try to answer in between while the webinar is ongoing. So feel free to post your questions on the Q&A section in the bottom section. And lastly, this session will be recorded and will be made available to you after this event. So the agenda for today's session, we'll be walking you through the overview of local automation and explain why it is important, what are the key challenges that are faced in today's testing world, and how does BrowserStack's local automation help you solve those challenges and move from manual to automation quickly. We'll also walk you through a product demo and give you an overview of the key features that we have, and then talk about how AI is integrated in local automation and how you can leverage AI in different aspects of your testing. Followed by a walkthrough again for the advanced workflows testing that you can do using local automation. So we'll walk you through the different features that you have shipped recently, which will unlock you to perform this advanced workflow seamlessly, and followed by the Q&A section towards the end. Now, I'm sure you all are excited. To kick things off, we'll first begin with a poll to understand what are the types of testing do you perform today as part of your daily testing activities. Please choose the relevant options that are applicable based on whatever types of testing that you do on a daily basis. Now, let's move on to why one should even consider local automation. Right? What are the challenges that are involved which local automation solves? So the traditional script-based automation today, it isn't easy. The teams face several challenges, right from building and maintaining the automation frameworks. It takes time and effort and also requires expertise. Setting up the execution infrastructure and maintaining it also requires significant, it's complex and requires significant amount of time. Also achieving ROI is something that takes months, right? As automation requires significant initial effort, and skilled QA engineers with automation expertise are scarce and highly in demand. So local automation solves these problems by significantly reducing the effort and increasing the test velocity. Now, does any of these challenges sound familiar to you, where there are delayed releases for your features because you're performing manual regression or manual sanity of all the features that are being shipped to production? There are product managers or business analysts or non-technical people working in your team who want to contribute to testing, but they don't know coding. You have very low test coverage, and it is taking significant amount of time to set up the automation test cases. And your test cases are flaky, and you're spending more time in fixing the tests rather than automating new features, right? So if any of these challenges is relatable, then yes, LCA local automation is worth considering. Now let's look at how BrowserStack local automation solves these challenges in a seamless way. So you can easily download our desktop application, which is used to record the workflows and create your tests within few minutes. So you can use a recorder which has very low learning curve. It supports end-to-end UI test journeys with zero learning curve. So it's not just a tool, it's a platform in itself where you can create your end-to-end journeys, trigger your tests without integrating with any cloud service providers. Everything runs on our own infra. Uh, right from creation, execution, we also have troubleshooting logs and everything. So right from creation, execution, troubleshooting, reporting, and performing various kinds of testing like accessibility, visual, etc. You can do that with BrowserStack Low-Code Automation. So we have accessibility testing upcoming in the next few weeks. So please keep an eye on that once the new release is rolled out. Now, some of the key values that BrowserStack delivers: accelerated test, automated test creation. As I mentioned earlier, there is no learning curve involved at all. Anyone can use the product to automate the workflows, right from manual testers to even automation testers or product managers or business analysts or any non-technical people. Right. So the tests are created in simple English language, and any non-technical person can easily understand what the entire test workflow is about. You can also leverage our visual validations feature that replicate the capabilities of human eye, and you can automate some of your complex assertions with just adding a visual validation. We also have, in terms of execution, there's out-of-the-box integration. All the tests run on our own infrastructure. You can just, with one click, you can trigger the test on cloud. You can run your tests on all the major browsers, mobile browsers as well. Right. There are a bunch of logs that we provide you, which you can use to troubleshoot if something failed, but what exactly failed in the test. So overall, there's reduced maintenance in terms of fixing your tests and maintaining your tests over the time. We have also introduced AI capabilities at several touch points in your testing journey, in creation, execution, etc. So in various aspects of the testing journey, AI is integrated. We'll talk about this in detail in the next few slides. But I'll pass on to Aditi. Aditi will showcase a quick demo around the product, and then we'll talk about the further items in the slide. Over to you, Aditi.
Yes. Thank you, Rajesh. That was very informative. I just want to show our audience that this is our low-code automation product. This is our desktop version. We also have a web version of this application, which has all the details, right, that you can see here on the web version as well. But you need the desktop version to record and replay the tests locally. Now, to record a test, what you just need to do is give your URL here and click on start recording. What I'm going to do is I'm going to record a workflow on Calendly to create an event. Before that, I want to show that you can record tests on desktop, mobile, or tablets, and you can also select the resolution that you want here or the mobile device that you want to record your tests on. Now I'll just start the recording. What you can see is there is a recorder panel that is launched on the right side here. This is where all the steps will be captured, and we will launch a fresh, clean browser session, which is separate from your any active Chrome browser session. This is actually Chrome for testing, which is a separate and clean, fresh session, clear of any cache or previous logins or cookies that you might have. So yeah, as you can see, this has been launched and my URL is loaded. I'll just minimize the recorder and go about and perform my actions. What I want to do is I want to just log in using my email ID here. Now I'll put my password. Just and continue. Now I want to verify whether I have logged in into the page correctly. I will just open the recorder and show you that all the steps that I have performed on the recorder so far have been recorded correctly. Now, what I want to do is like as you can see here, there have been click actions and type actions recorded. What I want to do next is add a validation whether I have launched on the whether I've landed on the right product or right page. So I will just add a text validation here, which actually has my user ID. I'll go ahead and create the event that I want to perform. But before that, what I want to do is I want to make sure that these 4 types of events are shown properly, that the icons are present there in blue color. So what I'll do is I will add a visual validation on this. Yeah. So this adds a visual validation step, which captures a screenshot at this point and compares it with a screenshot that is taken during recording as well. This uses a Percy engine in the backend. So this, yeah. So as you can see, a screenshot was captured here. Now I'll go ahead and create my event. I'll just name this appropriately. Name, continue. Yes. And now a shareable link will be generated. I just want to make sure that this shareable link appears in the right element. I'm not interested in what is the link exactly the link that is generated because it will be dynamic. I just want to check whether it has appeared or not. So I will add a element presence validation, which just checks whether this div has appeared or not. Yes. So it will, so I've added a validation. Now, so far, what I've done is I've added a couple of click steps, type steps, and 3 validations. I will save this recording as I have completed an end-to-end test workflow. I will name it appropriately. Add any tags if I want for better organization and save and run this test. We generally recommend save and run as a best practice because we want to make sure that there are no surprises when you're executing this test. And once you have executed this a second time, you can go ahead and add it to your test suite for regression. Now, what this will do is this will launch another browser session, which is separate or clear of any cookies or cache from your recorded session as well. So a fresh session has been launched. It will open this URL and then go ahead and perform these actions sequentially. Now, as you can see, I'm not interacting with the browser at all or with the application at all. And it is going ahead and performing the steps in the right manner. And when the steps are recorded, a green tick mark appears here. Now I will exit this and just go back. What I want to highlight next is the configurations that you get on a step level. Now, what I was trying to do is I was trying to record a click on a login element. Now, what we do is we use we have an element selection algorithm in our backend, which captures multiple attributes related to this element and finds it uniquely in the replay so it is kind of robust if your website changes. This is also supplemented by an AI algorithm as a fallback, which Rajesh will mention in the following slides. But in case you want to supply your own locator, you can do so by overriding our default locator and supplying an XPath or a CSS path. The second thing that we do is we add waits between steps intelligently so that you don't have to worry about adding explicit waits or delays. We do this intelligently by finding out what are the right network requests that are going on and whether the elements have loaded completely and are in an interactable state. But even if you want to toggle that and add your explicit waits, increase this or decrease this wait time, you can do so. The third thing that we give control to you is what to do when the step kind of fails or does not, like if a validation does not happen. So what you can do is you can fail but continue the execution, warn but continue execution, or fail the test immediately. So these are the three options that are available to you. So this was all about creating a test, one test end to end. What if I want to run the same tests, the exact steps, but for different user ID and email? What I can do is I can change this email ID, and I can make it convert it into a variable and have it supplied via test data set. Okay, sorry, this was, yeah. I can import this value from a test data set. Right now, I don't have a test data set linked here, but what I'll do is I'll upload a CSV file, and then I can get this test data set variable from that CSV file. So basically, I can select a column which I want to derive this email value from. So there'll be an email column. And if I also want to supply a password from that, I can do that. I can map it to a password column. So when you run this test on cloud, it will be executed for each row fresh. So if there are 50 rows in your CSV, the same test will run 50 times with different combination of email and password. So that is all about, that is like a quick sneak peek about the basics of low-code automation. Now, I would like to ask you if you would be interested in exploring the tool by yourself. Please react to the poll that will show up on your screen now.
Thank you so much for the demo, Aditi. I think I hope everyone liked what you just saw. This is just the trailer to the incredible things that you can achieve using local automation and BrowserStack. Next, I'll be talking about how AI is integrated in local automation. Now, AI in test automation isn't just about making things faster, but it's about reducing effort and increasing the accuracy and making your test creation and maintenance effortless. So these are the three key areas where AI is integrated today in local automation. And yes, there are multiple things that are in pipeline that we're working on aggressively. Now, in terms of test authoring, well, you just saw how Aditi demonstrated, which you can use the recorder panel to record your test just by interacting with the browser and performing the actions and adding validations. With AI power test authoring, you can take a step further by intelligently generating the test steps by using natural language prompts. Right? And you can also generate meaningful test data dynamically. I'll show you a quick demonstration of how you can do that. Let me go to the application. So here I'll just record a test on browserstack.com where I'll go to a page and then try some actions just by providing a prompt to AI. So there are two ways to automate workflows in local automation. You can just simply interact as you just saw, or you can just provide the prompt in the generate with AI option here. So here what I'll do is I'll say, click on the talk to us button and fill the form to submit. So now what this will do is it will analyze the application and process the information that are provided in the form of the prompt, and then identify what are the actions that it has to take in order to fulfill the objective that you have given. So here what we have tried is we have provided a prompt to click on a button and which opens a form, and then it fills that form and then clicks on the submit button. So here you can see it analyzed, it understood that it has to click on a talk to us button on the page. Then next it will try to fill out the form, which has fields, full name, business email, company. So it could be, the fields could be anything. If it has a date picker or it has some other input type, it will analyze the field and then perform that action, and it will automatically record that in the record panel. So you can see it is trying to think the next step and then correspondingly fulfill the objective that you provided in the prompt. So it clicked on talk to us. It entered the name John Smith. It entered the business email, company. It will enter some name, and it understand what types of form it is. So here it's more of a demo form. So it will understand that it's a demo form, and you will see the type of comment it will put in the query box that is present at the bottom, right? So you see the steps have been generated. and it will just enter the comment in the last input box. So you see, it enters a meaningful comment. It's not like a random gibberish text. It understands it's a demo form. So it adds a comment saying, I would like to learn more about your testing solutions, and clicks on the submit button. So this is how you can integrate with use the AI prompt and then generate the steps automatically without even performing the actions on the browser. So now it has generated the steps. It's up to you if you want to perform actions or if you want to generate more steps using the prompts directly. Right now, another thing that I want to talk about is the text data generation. So here you can see that the AI has used some meaningful text to enter into the demo form. But in case we want to use some more meaningful data dynamically during runtime, for example, here, instead of John Smith, I want to enter dynamic full name every time with some condition, let's say. So I can leverage the functions feature as well. So we have a functions feature wherein you can generate random alphabets, random numbers, random email addresses, random passwords, etc. But if you want to generate a more meaningful test data dynamically, you can use the generate with BrowserStack AI option. You can just provide the prompt saying generate what we call it's a full name field, right? Generate valid full name starting with, let's say, R. Right? So you can give this kind of prompts and then it will generate a random full name starting with the letter R every time in every execution. Right? So this way you can use the dynamic data generation using AI to help make your test more resilient, more robust, and cover more types of scenarios as well. Now coming on to the AI healing aspect. So we talked about how you can leverage AI natural language prompts to author your test cases directly. Now in terms of execution, so test maintenance is often the biggest bottleneck in automation, right? The constant changes happening on the UI, the element locators keep changing. Element attributes are dynamic. So in the traditional script-based world, you'd end up spending time on maintaining the test. You'd change the locators, you'd configure the weights, right? So this is where the healing comes into the picture. We have our own element selection algorithm. Aditi has already demonstrated that how we take care of things during execution. So we have an element selection algorithm in place, which is a rule-based algorithm. So we have spent significant amount of time and energy and significant amount of efforts to come up with a rule-based algorithm and identify how to find an element uniquely. On top of that, we also have a AI healing in place, where if the element selection algorithm isn't able to find the element, we then pass it on to AI to give the right context, what the application is and what the step it has to achieve. And then accordingly, it will perform the action and heal the test execution. Right? Now, it's difficult to show live demo of a healing working, but I'll show some builds where we had created a website, a sample website, and we recorded a test. Then what we did was we updated that website and modified some attributes, removed some, shuffle some elements here and there, and then trigger the build again without any modifications to the test. So whenever you see a banded icon next to a test run, it means it has been healed by AI. Right? So unlike other builds where, let's say, this one had passed, it doesn't have any banded icon. It means it didn't require AI healing automatically. But this example where we intently modified the website to make sure that the AI healing works appropriately, we recorded a test and then updated the website and then tried replaying the test again. So this way, you see your test getting healed on cloud executions as well. So this is on the healing aspect. Now coming to the most interesting part where you can generate your automated tests directly from your manual test cases. Now, a common challenge for teams is transitioning from manual to automation. Now, often there are gaps where the test cases exist in documentation, but there's no automation in place. Right now, AI can take these structured or manual test cases that you've drafted and then convert them into automated tests. So you need not even perform the browser actions manually by opening the recorder panel and everything. So you can go to the BrowserStack test management product, And then you'll see an option called as automate using AI. I'll just demonstrate how you can do that. So this is the test management product of BrowserStack, where I have some test cases drafted in my project called as test project, and these are some of the tests. So you see AI generated here. Now these tests also have generated using AI. There's another feature of test management, which you can upload a requirement documentation, a product PRD, a task brief, or any kind of documentation which has all the requirements mentioned in the detail. You can upload that and then ask for the test cases around it. So it will automatically generate the test cases and populate it here. In case you want to move or update any test case, you can even do that. Now let's look at one test case here. Let's say we go to, let's say, this login functionality itself. Now this test case I want to automate. My screen. So this test case I want to automate using AI. Now I can go to the low-code automation app. I can open the recorder panel, then I can perform the steps manually and it will get recorded. Or if I fill the details correctly, the title, the steps, if I've given all the relevant information meaningfully here, you can just click a button here, which will automate the test case that you provided here using AI. Now, right now it is trying to get the context from the test case that you have drafted here. Now, based on that context, it will ask you to provide the website URL if it's missing or any kind of steps that you see is missing. You can just provide that in the context and then proceed for the execution. Let me try it out again. My laptop is a bit slow. I think a lot of people are trying out the Ghibli art images.
I think.
Yeah. So basically, once it generates the context, it will ask you for it will ask you to review whether the context that is generated from the test case that you provided, whether it is correct or not. And based on that, you can take a decision that you want to proceed further with the automation. Now, once you proceed, everything is behind the scenes now. You don't have to come to the local automation application and interact or anything. Everything happens behind the scenes. Once the test is automated, you can come to the respective project. So right now, the project that I am in test management is test project. We can come to the same project in local automation and see that test getting created here. Right. So it's that easy to create an automated test with just one click. You just have to make sure that your test case is drafted, having relevant details inside it, and just click on that automate using AI button, and then it will generate a test automatically behind the scenes. So there's no involvement of low-code automation recorder as well. So that's on the AI fields. Now, we are also working on multiple aspects around the entire testing journey, where how AI can be leveraged to improve your productivity and efficiency. Now, we just want to run a poll and quickly understand which aspect of your testing stage is crucial for you, where AI can be leveraged to improve your productivity and efficiency. Please select the relevant options that you feel are the most important ones for you. We'll move on to the advanced workflow testing, where Aditi will walk you through some of our recent features that we have shipped, which will help you unlock on different kinds of advanced workflows. For example, email workflow testing and conditional workflows, etc. So over to you, Aditi.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh, for talking about AI. I think we are very excited to, leverage AI in our day-to-day testing workflows. But beyond that, like if you have more advanced workflows that require multiple things like interacting with emails, sharing data across tests, if you have like complex applications, writing some application-specific code to trigger some actions that are very application specific, or adding some logical blocks like if else or loops. We support all of that within low code as of today. So I'm going to begin by showing you how you can interact with an email in low code automation. I'm going to demonstrate a sign up workflow in which we will get a OTP on the email as part of the sign-up process. So, sorry, that was login, but I'll just go to sign up. Yeah. So if I click on this email field, what you can see is a pop-up appears which asks you to select one of these two. So these are email IDs that are supplied to you by BrowserStack itself. So you don't need to depend on any other external vendors to get email IDs and inboxes to include as part of your testing. BrowserStack provides you these email IDs. So you can use either a permanent email ID or a temporary email ID. Permanent email ID is alive across tests and is recommended for login workflows. And a temporary email ID is generated freshly on every new execution. So since I'm doing a sign up workflow, I will select the temporary email ID and go about my workflow. Now I'm waiting for this email to appear with my OTP, and I will then open it and interact with it. Yeah. So as you can see, I've received a notification that I've received an email with an OTP. So I can, from here, I have two options, either to open the email or to extract the OTP. To make it super simple for you, we have this extract OTP option, which will extract the OTP from the email body and just give you the value directly, which you can save and insert into a field which is accepting this code. So we'll enter it here and do verify and continue. Here, let me just put a password. And yeah, that's it. As you can see on the recorder panel here, it has recorded all the steps that I have done so far. That is typing the temporary email ID and opening the email from the support@toggle.com. As part of this email, what you can do is for replay, you can use some conditions that you want to select this email you want to interact with. It can be on the basis of sender, receiver, or the subject. Since, as you can see, the subject is going to be dynamic as it already contains this OTP, I'm going to remove that so that we can find this. I'll find this email when you replay. So these are, and then you can also add some validations on the sender, receiver, and subject. So let's say I want to add a validation on subject that it contains the site name. So this is a validation that I have added on this email. And then it has automatically recorded an extract value step, which extracts the value of the OTP from the email body into a variable, and then uses that variable in the input field. Another thing I just want to quickly highlight here is you saw me enter a password. Now, generally passwords are sensitive information. So what you can do is you can convert this password into a secret, which is an encrypted data format, which is not accessible even to you once you have saved it. So this value is encrypted on our end as well. So you can use this secret to store all credentials and passwords and OTPs. Yeah, so as you can see, I've already created one. Yeah. Now I will just save this recording and save and run it again. So second time as well, I will get this email and it will be able to figure out which email you want to interact with, dynamically extract the code, and perform the end-to-end sign-up process. In the interest of time, I will just exit this and move on to the next part. The second thing I wanted to talk about is sharing data between tests. Now, let's say, for example, you have an e-commerce application, and we typically, in testing, want our tests to be atomic in nature. So your one test could be placing an order, second could be validating whether that order was placed, third could be discarding that order, and so on. So I've already created the tests here on an e-commerce site, which is placing an order. So what this does is it logs into an e-commerce website, selects like a t-shirt, and validates that the order was processed and extracts the order ID into a order ID variable. Now this is a variable linked to this place order test. What I can do is, I can go to another test, which I've already created, where I'm validating whether the order was placed. So this is another test which just uses this order ID. Now I have imported this order ID variable from another test. So how I've done it is, wherever I want to match it, I will go and import a variable, and I can use a local variable, which is from this test, a global variable, which is defined globally across tests, or I can import a variable from other tests. Since we are talking about data sharing, I wanted to use this variable from another test, which is place order. And then I need to give a default value for local runs. So what we want to do is we want to dynamically pass value from place order test to validate order was placed test. Now, since we know that this is going to happen sequentially, whenever we are going to execute it, we need to make sure that it is run in a sequential manner. I'll just take a moment to highlight the test suites here now. If I want to kind of run a group of tests together on cloud, I need to create a test suite. I'll just create a test suite once here. And in this, I can add my tests. My tests are place order and validate the order was placed. I can move them around and define the order I want to run them in. Since we already talked, this is our desired order. And I don't want to run these tests in parallel because they are going to be logically dependent on each other. So I'll just uncheck this, and now this will run in a sequential manner. I'll add these two tests. And if I want to run this on multiple browsers, I can do so by selecting the browsers I want to run this on. I will select just Chrome for now. And if I want to schedule this test suite to run on a regular interval, I can give the time that I want here. And there are a bunch of other things that you can configure as well. But for now, I will just save the test suite and you can execute it from here and it will create a build. I have already created a build to demonstrate this. So what you would expect now is that dynamically we have generated or placed an order. The same order ID should be used in the second test. So let's just take a look at this. Okay, so this is what we call a test execution. Here we provide you with the video recording of the test execution on cloud, the console logs, network logs, and the screenshots taken for some steps, which will help you in your debugging purposes. Now I will just go to the end of this video as it has, I'm not sure if you can see, I'll just zoom in once. 49298 is the order ID that was placed. And that should match with the order ID I'm going to use in my second test. So yeah, as you can see, when validating, it has used this exact 49298 and passed data dynamically between tests. So this is all about sharing data between tests. The third thing I wanted to talk about is logical blocks. Now, let me just BrowserStack.com. So there are some workflows you want to do conditionally. Let's say if a pop-up appears, you want to interact with it, or if it does not appear, you want to just go ahead and perform the rest of your workflow. In this case, you would want to add an if-else condition. What you need to do is, let me just load this one. Yeah, so here you can add a conditional flow. In this conditional flow, you have three options. Either you check whether an element is present, or you check if the text matches the value. You select an element and match it against your desired value, or you use a variable to match it with your expected value, a variable that needs to be created earlier. Now, what I'll do is I want to check if this talk to us button is present. So I will select element presence. I will select this button. So my condition becomes if element talk to us is present, then execute the following steps. So if this button is present, I want to interact with it. So I'll click on it. So as you can see, and else I don't want to do anything. I just want to like, let's say, go ahead and I don't want to do anything. I just want to go ahead and click on something else. So this is how I can enter. This is how I can add a conditional loop. We also have another logical block upcoming, which is creating a loop. So that is if you want to execute certain number of steps multiple times. Let's say there are 4 cards here. You want to interact with the cards, but there are like you want to perform only 3 or 4 steps a couple of times. You can select that and create a loop and determine how many times you want that loop to execute. So these are the these are the logical blocks that we support as of today. The next thing is, just quickly, one last thing I wanted to show is the custom action step. So this is where if there's any application specific logic that you want to trigger, you can do that from here by writing a JavaScript code. But just in case you want to use library scripts, we have provided you with a list of functions that you can use out of the box. Let's say here I want to use a scroll until an element is in view. What I can do is I can select this function and it just gets added to my code script. And to make it even easier, you can select the element that you want that you're talking about. Let's say I want to scroll until this benefits element is in view. So that's all you need to do, and you can just execute this script. So this is how we have made it easier for you to reuse code. You can also write your own custom code and save it in form of a script and add it to this library so your teammates can use it. So this is all about the advanced features. I'm sure we have not covered all, but what we feel is the most important for you. Now, over to you, Rajesh.
We'll just run a quick poll to understand whatever you just saw in terms of the advanced workflow testing, conditional workflows, the custom actions that you just saw, where if you want to trigger some custom JavaScript specific to your application, you can just leverage the library functions, or you can also write your own function and make it import into the library. And along with the data sharing and email workflow testing, please select any of these features which you find will be more useful in your testing workflows. All right. We'll move on to the Q&A. I think there have been some questions that have been floating. Let me go to the Q&A section. So encountered has been trying to use click on calendars to click on forward element to advance the months or years. Here, the question is more around how to perform actions where you want to set current date, or you want to go set a date in future next month or maybe 2 months afterwards. You can use the recorder, record those actions, and then also pass your own locator if you want. But there's another thing, seamless way, where we are working on this problem statement, where this kind of dynamic actions where you want to set a date that is today's date. So if the test gets executed today, it should select 3rd of April. But if it executes tomorrow, it should select 4th of April. So these kind of dynamic actions is something that we are working on right now. As I mentioned earlier during my AI demonstration, where multiple aspects we are working right from creation to execution to reporting, and how we can leverage AI to solve those problem statements. So we are also solving this problem statement. So you'll see soon here an update from us, and this kind of workflows will be very seamless for you with just normal prompts. You can even try to unlock these kind of workflows as well. So yes, that's on the how to handle these kind of dynamic actions where you want to select today's date or dates in future or past, etc. How do we secure the data from different websites using the low-code automation in BrowserStack? So there's secrets feature in case you are entering some inputs in your test workflows, which is sensitive and you don't want anyone to see that. You can create it as a secret. Once you create it as a secret, no one would be able to see what's the value of that secret. Even you won't be able to see it. The only way to update the secret is you can just go to the secret and then enter a new value and then save it. So everything is masked, encrypted, and even on the database, it's stored in an encrypted format. So any kind of sensitive information you want to input in your test workflows, create it as a secret, and then continue with the workflow. There are a couple of questions around database access. Can we make database calls? So what we have right now is you can make use of the API calls to query your database using an API call. But we are also working on this in our roadmap. We have plans in future to make database queries as well. So it's something that is in our roadmap and we're working on it. So you'll soon again hear an update around this as well. And can we integrate in CI pipeline? Yes, you can integrate in CI pipelines. So you go to the documentation page, you go to the integrations section, you go to CI/CD tools, you'll see a list of all the pipelines that you can integrate with. Okay.
Rajesh, there's another question on integrations. Can we connect this tool with Jira or Zapier? So we have integrations for bug reporting, for test management. There's a list of tools you can find on our documentation. We do support Jira today, where you can directly report a bug from within the application. And we are constantly building integration with more and more tools.
There's another question around, can it solve the visual captcha as showcased? So captchas in automation, captchas are generally not meant to automate. That's the whole point of introducing a captcha, where you can't bypass, you can't automate that captcha. So whenever you're automating, either by script-based automation or using low-code or any kind of tool, captchas would come up because it will identify that session as a bot traffic and will show you the captcha. Now, there are multiple ways to tackle this problem. The best way is, if you are automating on your staging environments, the best way is to disable captchas on staging environments and not on production. Second, we also have a feature called as advanced options. So on the desktop application, you have seen where you enter the URL. You have a feature called as advanced options where you can set the request headers here. So what you can do is, in your application code base, you can get in touch with the developer, configure the application in a way that whenever a specific request header comes to the application, captcha should not be shown. And then you can use that request header key value and specify it here. So whenever you're automating using low-code automation with this key header value, key and value provided, captchas won't be shown. Otherwise, whenever you're testing normally or on production as well, you will see the captchas. So this way you can leverage the advanced options request headers feature to automate captchas as well. Now, in case you are using Google reCAPTCHA V4, so it provides the static secret access key and token. So you can use that in your web application and you can directly click on the confirm captcha button as well during recording. So it should work out of the box. So these ways you can solve the captcha part. I'll just stop my screen sharing. For some reason, I'm not able to see the Q&A chat. We'll take a few more questions and then how are the selectors technical attributes getting picked for the local automation? So as Aditi had demonstrated, right? When you're performing actions on the browser, and interacting with the elements, we capture the element attributes and other relevant information. And then during the execution side, we have the element selection algorithm. As I mentioned earlier, it's a rule-based algorithm, which uses these attributes and then finds the element. If it's not able to find, then it will pass it on to AI to find the element. The question of database, we answered. Does this tool support an import from Selenium IDE tests? No, not right now. But once you record a test on local automation, we provide an option to export it to Selenium IDE as well. So the exported format is in .sid format, which is Selenium IDE format. So you can use that and import it in Selenium IDE. But the other way around, where you want to import from Selenium IDE into local automation, that's something that is not there right now.
There are multiple, sorry. There are multiple questions on whether you have a course or tutorial. So about that, we help you get started on low-code automation tool until you're able to you're familiar with the tool and all of its capabilities. So we do have resources for that. I hope that answers the question.
Can we access multiple URLs in a same suite? So if your question is more around recording a test on one environment, but running it on multiple environments on cloud, yes, you can do that. Right now, while creating a test suite, there's an option called as host URL, wherein you can provide the domain of the environment where you want to run the tests on. And whatever environment you provide, all the tests that are part of the suite would run on that environment. In case you want to run on multiple such environments, you just have to create a separate suite. But we're working on adding support for providing all URLs in a single suite itself. So you can just provide multiple URLs in a single suite and say that, okay, run this 5 tests in 3 different environments at the same time. I think we can take one more question. Let's see. Answered pretty much. What test frameworks can test be exported to, and what framework does this use to build the initial test? So when the test gets recorded, we don't store any kind of code at our end, right? So it's just metadata information for whatever steps you have recorded, what was the action, and what was the step name and everything. So we don't generate a code as in when we are recording. The generation of the code happens during execution on runtime. So that is one aspect to it. And what test frameworks can test be exported to? So right now the test can be exported to the .sid format, as I mentioned earlier, Selenium IDE format. So that is one, and which allows you to export it to like 6 different languages: Java, JavaScript, Ruby, C#, Python, etc. So, and we are planning on adding support for other frameworks as well. Yeah, I think there could be a few questions we might not have answered, but because we are towards the end of the webinar, we'll not answer them right now, but we'll take these questions and then send a reply to you on the email address. Thank you for participation today. I hope the webinar was informative and valuable. So we have more things upcoming. We'll have more webinars in the future for local automation as well. So yeah, hopefully you'll join there as well. So thank you for your time. I will see you next time in the next webinar.